Welcome to myAfrican Affairs. July 7th, which can be abbreviated as 0707, in Swahili is known as Saba, a day that Kenyans can commemorate when there were nationwide protests calling for free elections. Kenneth, Matiba, and Charles Rubia were the politicians who called for the nationwide protests calling for free elections. They were detained a day before the protest. Other organizers, including George Anyona and Raila Odinga, were beaten and detained by the tyrannical leader, former President Moi. On July 7th this year, opposition leader Raila Odinga and his party Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition scheduled a rally at the historic Kamukunji Grounds, a scene where there were intense clashes between the police and agitators for multi-party democracy 33 years ago. The opposition leader called for the protests to oppose the tax that were imposed on Kenyans in the Finance Bill 2023. The court has, however, ordered the suspension of the Finance Act. This comes at a time when Kenyans are struggling with the high cost of living. In a strategy to ensure that the protests were more effective, Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition tasked its leaders to lead protests in various parts of the country. It was a day of chaos, arrests, and loss of lives as protesters turned out in large numbers to demonstrate against the high cost of living and to express discontent over the recently passed Finance Act 2023. While addressing the large multitude at the Kamukunji Grounds, opposition leader Raila Odinga accused President Ruto of failing to tackle the high cost of living and for poaching opposition lawmakers. At the main rally in Nairobi, protesters blew into whistles and horns while others danced. Many yelled, "Tumechoka," Swahili for "we are tired," as well as "Ruto must go" and "No Raila, no peace." Others barricaded the road with burning tires, which the police officers extinguished. Odinga's convoy spent at least 2 hours trying to enter the Nairobi Central Business District using different routes. The police barricaded them using tear gas.
Saba! Wewe! Here, usikubali ingia kwa macho like.
There is footage of police trying to disperse the protesters at the port city of Mombasa, the western towns of Kisumu and Kisii. Other places where protests took place include Nyahururu, Migori, Siaya, and Kitale counties. The High Court suspended the implementation of the Finance Act 2023. However, the government has gone ahead to raise the retail prices of petrol, which has prompted the opposition senator who lodged the case to seek jailing of the head of the energy sector for contempt. The ruling against contempt is set to be made this Monday. Earlier this year, a lot of Kenyans heeded to the opposition's leaders' call for anti-government protests every Mondays and Thursdays, and they held 3 rallies despite the government's ban on public demonstrations. President Ruto says that the tax hikes will contribute to about 200 billion, which converts to $1.4 billion in a year, which is needed to deal with the growing debt repayment and to fund job creation initiatives.